Hi, Taurus. Welcome to your October 2015 love reading. It's Raina here. Remember that this is still a general reading, and if you want something tailored to you personally using your birth data, click on the link below and I can read for you. I'd love to do that. But in any case, it might shed some light on your situation, and it's particularly useful for people who have had a rough go of things, either in a marriage, long term partnership, or on the dating scene. And this reading kind of makes me think that I'm speaking to people who are in a current relationship. I really do, or who have just gotten out of a very bad relationship because the card to represent your current state of mind is the Ace of Swords. So, this is a card of somebody who's really trying to get to the bottom of something. And I immediately connect it with some kind of betrayal. So, if you feel that you've been lied to and you're checking things out and that sort of thing, that's the kind of energy. It's definitely a rather conflictive energy. Because it's an ace, it's a new development. It's not something that has been necessarily ongoing. But maybe what the new development is that you're deciding not to put up with it anymore. At the end of September, which hasn't occurred yet at the time of my recording, we're going to have a total lunar eclipse, and this is going to occur in your 12th house on September 27th. And so this brings up secrets. Now, this might be something that you've been keeping secret. For those of you who are not in a relationship and are single and looking, this could simply mean that you're feeling a lot more communicative, but that you're making the first move instead of just sitting back and being passive and waiting for somebody to talk to you, like, let's say, at a party. And this is really a good decision on your part because I know that Taurus is a sign that can be quite shy, can be quite laid back and retiring. And sometimes people might be able to tell that you're more of an introvert, but sometimes people may come to the wrong conclusion about you and think that you don't like them. Maybe you do like them. So it's really about communicating, but kind of initiating the communications. And it might be that you're talking to someone in particular that will eventually lead to a long-term relationship. The message from the universe for the month of October, Taurus, is the Star card. Very, very nice card. You got three major arcana cards in this reading out of five cards. So I think that October will be important for you on the love front. And because Scorpio is your opposite complementary sign, this means that any planets in Scorpio, and there will be some in the near future, but with the sun there, that it will fall in your seventh house. So this will really be good for romantic relationships. So, especially in the last week of October, when the sun goes into Scorpio, and then going into November with the new moon in Scorpio as well, that will fall into your seventh house of relationships, and this will be very good for new beginnings in that area. So the Star card is all about having faith. You are divinely protected, you are loved, and if you've been lonely, if you have been clamoring for some sort of romance, this card is kind of an affirmation from the universe that it's on its way. But you have to do your part, and you have to keep in that positive frame of mind in order to make it as likely to happen as possible. In terms of advice, you got the Death card. So this can have many interpretations. I actually like this card a lot because letting go of something that no longer serves you is really a beautiful thing. You know, it's so funny because I have this Morgan Greer deck, and it's fairly faithful to the Rider Waite deck, but this illustration on the Death card is a skull with the black cloak and this white rose with green leaves on it. So I mean, I haven't studied what exactly that means, but I just assume that that is kind of like this hope that awaits you. In the context of this particular reading, I think that for a lot of you, this may be that you have to let go of a relationship that may still just be playing out in your mind and may just be playing out in terms of your emotional patterns. You may have not gotten over somebody that you were in love with who may have left you, or that you had to break it off from because you just couldn't, it was just too painful, that sort of thing. But it could also mean that you're currently in a marriage, maybe that is just not working. And what happens is, I know Taurus really kind of clings to things. A fixed sign, you don't want your food dish moved. And sometimes you have to let go. And the Star card is letting you know that if you let go, it's not going to mean that you're totally without anything. Nature abhors a vacuum. Never forget that. So when you let go of something that is not good for you, something it 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 creates a space for something even better to flow into your reality. And the action step that you can take is the Strength card. And so having strength doesn't always mean having a stiff upper lip. It might mean that you have to be vulnerable to someone that is supportive in your life. And you might have to say, this happened to me and I'm really hurting right now. You know, that paradoxically, that is what strength may mean for some people. For some other people, it may mean that you need to get off the pity pot. Maybe you've been whining to other people about somebody that did you wrong, or maybe you've just been feeling sorry for yourself. And that has kept you locked into that energetic pattern. You know, I don't know how many of you know about energetic cords. And it's like there is such a thing as a negative attraction. So when you hate somebody, when you hold grudges, that bonds you to that person just as much. And I know I mentioned this in a former reading for Taurus about holding grudges. At least I think I did. And I'm Taurus rising, I totally get it. But when you hold a grudge, it crystallizes that energy. And when you crystallize the energy, it's like making it into this physical entity. It really solidifies it, you know? And what happens? It remains in your energetic grid. It remains, you know, part of who you are. So, really, when you forgive, you're doing yourself a favor. It has nothing to do with the other person ultimately. But it is also good to forgive people by being emotionally generous and realizing that we are all fallible. We make mistakes because we are trying to get our needs met. There's that saying, hurt people hurt people. And sometimes it's not even that the person is aware that they're hurting other people, they're just trying to get their needs met. Somebody who cheats on you may have felt that you were not there for them in some way. And it doesn't make their betrayal or their deception correct. But on the other hand, we're not living in their shoes, so we don't know what it is that they need and what they felt they didn't get from you. And another thing that Taurus tends to do is see people as yet another possession of theirs. When you forgive, that is a show of your strength ultimately. But even if you're married to someone, they still are sovereign souls and they have the right to make the choices that they do. And even when they deceive and betray, you have to allow them to follow their own path without thinking that you have some right of ownership. But the outcome, if you choose to take this advice, is the Five of Pentacles. And I think in this context, what it's saying is that some of you may decide that you need to focus on your finances, for instance. Maybe you are on shaky ground financially and you just need to throw yourself into your work, or maybe you need to get a second job and not even worry about romance. But for other people, it may mean that you've been neglecting the spiritual side of life and you need to realize that there's more to life than your relationships, even. You have a personal destiny, and that the way that you can honor that sometimes is by, tapping into your spiritual nature. So, Taurus, I'm going to end things here. And I hope you enjoyed this. And if you want a private reading, just click on the link below. Have a great October. Bye.